Dreams don't come true. Okay, that hits a bit differently, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Did that title make you, blink, maybe feel a little put off?
I bet. Yeah. It's meant to.
Good.
Yeah.
Because today we're not just pushing positive thinking.
Exactly. That statement, it's pretty stark, but it's our way into looking at reality. Well, maybe in a way that flips how you think things happen.
Yeah.
In your life.
Yeah, forget the typical self-help stuff. We're really diving deep here into Vadim Zealand's Reality Transurfing. Some pretty provocative ideas.
Sometimes head-scratching, for sure.
Definitely. And we're starting right at square one, chapter 1, the alternatives model.
Right. This is the foundation. It's where Zealand basically lays out his whole worldview, how things operate.
Yeah.
And you kind of need to get this to understand the rest.
Okay.
Think of this as like the first lens we're giving you to see his ideas through.
And he starts with something, well, honestly, pretty relatable, I think. That bad dream you just can't shake. And then, almost pushing back, deciding, no, today's going to be a good day, ordering that sunny day, as he puts it.
That contrast, it seems simple, but it's doing a lot of work there.
Well,
Zealand uses it right away to challenge this idea we all kind of have.
Yeah.
That just wanting something is enough.
Right. Like positive thinking alone gets you there.
Yeah. He's hinting that there's something else going on, a mechanism that's deeper than just wishing.
Okay, so let's get into it. This alternatives model, what's the big idea, the core concept we need to wrap our heads around?
Okay, so the main thing is this concept of the alternative space picture, like a truly massive infinite information field.
Infinite.
Infinite, and it holds every single possibility, every event, every way things could have been or are or, well, ever might be.
Whoa. Okay.
Like a cosmic library of all potential realities.
So you're saying every possibility, even the really out there ones, they already exist somewhere in this field. That's a big concept.
It's huge, yeah. But it's key to his whole model. Now, going back to that title, Dreams Don't Come True, Zealand makes this really important distinction. He separates, vague wishes, those hazy dreams, from actual focused choices. Dreams, for him, are passive.
Passive, okay. So just wanting something, it's not enough to, I don't know, grab it from this alternative space. What's missing?
Exactly. That's what he argues. These vague dreams, they just don't have the focused energy needed to light up or select a matching possibility in that field.
Oh.
He's saying you need something more deliberate, more intentional, to actually shift from just dreaming to, living it.
Which leads to his next big point.
Yes. Variability is the world's most fundamental quality.
Variability. Fundamental. Explain that one, because honestly, a lot of the time things feel pretty fixed, don't they? Predictable.
Right. But Zealand's proposing that underneath it all, at the very deepest level, reality is constantly buzzing with potential. It's always possible for things to happen differently.
So it pushes against that idea of a fixed fate, something you're stuck with or have to fight.
Totally. It directly challenges that. The idea that destiny is this rigid path you can't escape.
Which, he points out those are the usual ways we think about fate, right?
Exactly.
Either it's set in stone, so you just accept it.
Or you got to battle for it, fight against it.
Yeah.
He lays out those two views, fate as a burden or fate as a prize you win, and then he offers his alternative.
Yeah.
There isn't just one destiny. There are countless possibilities, these different lifelines existing in that alternative space.
Lifelines. Right. He uses that analogy like sectors.
Yeah, like uniform sectors.
So our lives move along these paths, which are relatively stable, but then something can happen and we sort of jump tracks. Is that the idea?
That's basically it. Think of these lifelines, less like fixed railway tracks, maybe more like slightly different movie reels of your life unfolding.
Okay.
So one lifeline might have, I don't know, a nice small surprise today. Another parallel one might have a minor hassle instead. But significant emotional energy, that's like a stronger signal. It can potentially shift you onto a lifeline that really resonates with that strong feeling, that frequency.
Okay, so how do we actually make the switch? What pushes us from one potential lifeline to another in this, huge field of options?
Right. This is where thought energy comes in. It's central. Zealand suggests our thoughts aren't just mental noise.
Okay.
They're a real form of energy. And this energy interacts with the alternative space. So our consistent thoughts, the things we keep focusing on, they literally light up or start to, materialize a specific alternative.
Yeah.
One that vibrates at the same frequency.
Ah, the radio analogy. I remember reading that. Like our mind is a transmitter.
Exactly.
Sending out a signal, and we tune into a specific station, a specific reality based on what we're broadcasting, based on our thoughts.
That's it, precisely. When we keep focusing our attention, our energy on a particular outcome, we are basically broadcasting on that frequency.
Right.
And that makes the corresponding alternative in that information field more likely to become, what we actually experience.
So here's a thought then. If you're constantly worried about something bad happening.
Well, in Zealand's model, you're kind of inadvertently tuning into those scenarios. You're strengthening them in the alternative space.
So your fears aren't just feelings, they're signals, actively shaping things.
That's the implication. They're active signals that are sort of selecting your potential future from that space.
Okay, but what about other people? Is it just me creating my reality all alone? That sounds much.
No, not at all. He's clear on this. We're all interconnected.
Yeah, okay.
Every living thing with its own thought energy is contributing to the whole picture, the collective reality. He even mentions sort of a deeper unity, a one spirit.
Right.
So yeah, your thoughts matter hugely, but the reality we all experience is this complex interplay of countless consciousnesses.
That makes more sense. It avoids that trap of feeling like you're solely responsible for, I don't know, earthquakes or something. But then how do we square that shared reality with how incredibly different people's lives are? He uses that example, the tourist and the homeless person in the same city.
Yeah, that's such a powerful illustration, isn't it?
It really is.
It shows how people can be in the exact same physical spot, but live in completely different worlds, essentially. Their lifelines, even in the same city, have totally different scripts and sceneries.
Why, though?
Because of their dominant thoughts, their beliefs, what they're focusing on. The tourist's mind is tuned to, like, beauty, fun, enjoyment.
Right.
While the homeless person is focused on survival. Just basic needs. Their internal transmitters, you could say, are just tuned to completely different frequencies in that alternative space.
Even though they're walking down the same street.
Exactly. Same physical space, vastly different experienced reality.
So, okay, we're all in the same sort of cosmic cinema, but watching different movies based on where we put our attention. What if you really, really don't like the movie you're watching right now? Can you just edit the script? Change your current lifeline?
This is another really key point. Zealand is very clear. No. You can't go back and rewrite the script of the lifeline you're currently on. It's already unfolding. Trying to constantly fix or fight what's happening right now, the unwanted stuff, it often just drains your energy.
So it's not about beating yourself up for past choices.
Not at all.
Yeah.
The insight is more about recognizing that your energy is better used now to consciously choose a different, more desirable future lifeline. It's about focusing forward, not getting stuck regretting the past.
Okay, so you can't edit the current scene. What's the move then? It comes back to choice again, doesn't it?
Exactly. The power is in choosing a different script, a different potential lifeline that matches what you actually want.
And this is why dwelling on what you don't want is such a bad idea.
Precisely. Because focusing there, putting your energy there, you're essentially just boosting the signal for that negative alternative. You're making it more likely to stick around or show up again.
Okay. Which brings us around to that riddle, the Guardian's riddle from the dream at the start, the old guy in the nature reserve.
Yeah, the Guardian.
What was his main message there? It felt important.
It was. Even though it's in this dreamlike context, the message is actually super direct and empowering. It's basically, everyone is free to choose any destiny they wish.
Any destiny.
The only freedom we truly have is the freedom of choice.
Yeah.
That's the core of it.
So even with all these infinite possibilities, these pre-existing alternatives, our real power is in choosing which one we align with using our thought energy.
That's it. That's the profound value in trying to understand these ideas. It shifts you away from fighting the world or trying to change what's already done toward the much more powerful act of consciously choosing the reality you actually want to step into.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of our current reality is just stuff we've accidentally chosen by default.
Yeah, wow. Okay, let's try and boil this down. From this first chapter, this alternatives model, what's the absolute key thing for people to take away? I think the main message is you always get what you choose.
Yeah.
Maybe not consciously, but you get it. The power isn't in just wishing harder or fighting reality.
Right.
It's in understanding that this huge range of possibilities exists the alternative space and your dominant thoughts. They act like a selector. They tune you into a specific lifeline within that space.
It's definitely a lot to chew on, and I can see how, some listeners might be thinking infinite alternatives.
Yeah?
Thoughts shaping reality. It sounds maybe a bit out there.
Oh, for sure. That's a totally normal reaction. Zealand himself even says these ideas can seem pretty weird at first.
Yeah.
The key, I think, is not to treat it as like the absolute gospel truth necessarily, but see it as a model. A different way to think about how things might work. A lens that could potentially give you, a lot more agency in your own life.
A different perspective on your experiences and what's possible.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's something to maybe leave everyone with. A final thought. If Zealand is right, or even partly right, if there really are infinite alternative realities out there, then what kind of scenery, what kind of reality will you consciously choose to focus your thought energy on from now on? Especially now you know that dreaming about it isn't quite enough.
Yeah. That really puts the spotlight on where you place your attention, doesn't it?
Yeah.